I'm calling the December 19th, 2024 special meeting of the Board of Education to order for Government Code Section 49594. Wait, 54950 et sequitur, and Education Code Section 35140 et sequitur at the District Educational Center, 1301 East Warnsdorf Avenue in Placentia at 4:01. The subject of the call is listed on the agenda. Can you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and on board. No. Okay. I see that all 5 board members are here today, so everyone is here. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda for December 19th, 2024. Special meeting.
Second. I have a motion by Mrs. Buck and a second by Mrs. Quintero. Any comments?
I have a comment. Marilyn Anderson needs to recuse herself from the closed session agenda items, as we as a board should not approve this agenda, and we should move for immediate dismissal of this board meeting. On Tuesday night at the board meeting, Marilyn Anderson was dishonest to the board about her HR claims. It's public knowledge Dr. Cherniss has an HR claim against her from months before, as well as another administrator in our district. The claim was a hostile work environment. Marilyn also stated in her campaign literature that $1.9 million was transferred from the Valencia kitchen to USI, and that was deemed not true. Dr. Cherniss filed a defamation hostile work environment lawsuit against Anderson on 12/18, and at 4 p.m., Marilyn Anderson has scheduled a special board meeting to possibly terminate or put on admin leave Dr. Cherniss and Issaic Gates. This is retaliatory in action and leaves the district open to more potential litigation. Marilyn Anderson has sent Palos Verdes USD a PRA request for Dr. Cherniss and a previous Palos Verde employee. There was a confidential matter involving one of the employees named. Marilyn was not the only person who did a PRA request. Marilyn, APLE President Linda Mannion, former employee Richard McAlinden, and PYLUSD Info social media page also made the same request using the same language and during the same time frame. It is to be noted that AALRR, which is on our agenda for approval tonight, is also the firm Palos Verdes USD is in contract with. I'm calling for an immediate investigation into who from Palos Verdes USD, the law firm, or another firm, the superintendent, an interim superintendent, or a board member in question who leaked the confidential information either to Marilyn Anderson, Linda Mannion, Richard McAlinden, or the PYLUSD info page. Marilyn Anderson has possibly been colluding with current employees, past employees, and possibly a law firm to find information on Dr. Cherniss in order to attempt termination. I'm asking until we know the depth of Marilyn Anderson's relationship with Richard McAlinden and Linda Mannion, who is the APLA president and donated $40,000 to $50,000 to her campaign or put it towards her reelection, that she recuses herself from whatever is on closed session pertaining to Richard McAlinden, Dr. Alex Cherniss, and Dr. Issaic Gates. I would like an immediate investigation into possible collusion. Further, the night of the board meeting on 12/17, a source reached out and said that there was a bomb about to be dropped in our district. I know what school site, I know the teachers, I know every bit of this information. And so what is the bomb that dropped? The bomb dropped yesterday. They stated this was all going to happen on Wednesday morning, just as it did. It should be noted that on 12/12 and 12/13, Barry Buck and Marilyn Anderson attempted to put the law firm Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Romo, and Rudd on the agenda with the contract to Todd Robbins, a former attorney in the district. This did not go through the normal RFP procedures, and the contract was sent directly from Carrie Buck to Dr. Cherniss. This request fell outside the 10-day window for board members to place items on the agenda. When Dr. Cherniss refused to place the item on the agenda, Per our board bylaws, Carrie Buck demanded he do so and stated she was going to accuse him of insubordination if he did not. And this is all on email. This was inappropriate in violation of our board bylaws, as to one board member cannot direct the superintendent. Carrie was advised several weeks ago that she was breaking board bylaws once again when she also attempted to direct the action of the superintendent without board action or authority. Todd Robbins and AALRR were removed as our law firm in 2023. We found illegal contracts, we had consistent government code violations, and his demeanor in the board meeting towards conservatives were less than professional. The district attorney is in receipt of possible government code violations, 1090 violations, and also other incidents, and it's currently at the district attorney's office being evaluated. Does anyone find it strange that they want to change in law firm to this attorney from the past on the same day that an employee turns in a potential claim?
No.
This appears to be a coordinated attack, and I'm calling for an immediate investigation into AALRR, Carrie Buck, Marilyn Anderson, the teachers union, and the employees who have been named in our district to have been colluding with these parties. This appears to be an orchestrated event. Further, we should not approve any law firm today until we hear from the district's attorney office that the status of these potential investigations are clear, and if there will be an investigation into this attorney and this law firm. I will be filing a state bar license claim against Todd Robbins for working with board members without a contract. Marilyn Anderson is also refusing to release the name of the CSBA attorney who she named in the December 10th board meeting and who she cited an improper use of education code that actually resulted in a vote with a board member. I'm asking that she reveal the name so we can also file a state bar license claim against the attorney and CSBA for working with board members without a contract. At the CSBA conference, we were not in any contract or membership with the CSBA at that time of their conversation, and she took this attorney's advice and brought it forth in a board meeting, which did affect the vote of board members. Any move forward with this agenda tonight will be retaliatory and due to the evidence of possible collusion with attorneys, the teachers union leadership, employees, former employees, we cannot move forward without an investigation. If we do move forward, I am asking that Marilyn Anderson recuse herself from the Richard McAlinden agenda item and also from the Dr. Alex Cherniss and Dr. Issaic Gates until a full investigation is conducted. When it's come to the students in our district, Marilyn Anderson has consistently said she wants to table programs, forward thinking, and progress. Her rush into this will no doubt cause the district financial distress. She needs to take her own advice and table this matter.
Let's have a vote.
You might want a roll call.
Are you requesting a roll call? Okay, roll call. Mrs. Blades?
No.
Mrs. Quintero?
Aye.
No.
Mr. Frazier, no. Mrs. Buck?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye, so motion carries.
Or what Leandra was asking. All three of us. To close this meeting,
Okay,
to come back.
public comment cards are available in the foyer. Cards must be completed and turned in prior to the designated time for public comment. Provide a maximum of 3 minutes per person. If translation is needed, an additional 3 minutes will be given. Please let us know.
To close this
If we know ahead of time, we can ensure we are prepared.
meeting.
Civility policy, Education Code 220 prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender, disability, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that is contained in the definition of hate crimes as set forth in section 422.55 of the Penal Code, including immigration status.
Rules.
So currently we have 17 speakers. And according to our bylaw, each speaker will be given 1.5 minutes. So at this time, The board will now hear public comment on the subject of the meeting only. Again, we can only comment on agendaized items. If you speaking out against something or talking about another thing, I will ask you to stick to the agenda, okay? We all clear? Okay, well, the first four people, we have Linda Cohn, Steve Sofisa.
Can I read somebody else?
Safa? Andy Falco and Angela Eggers.
Good afternoon, everyone. President Anderson, what's the emergency? Why are we having this meeting? Whenever I have any questions about the Brown Act, my go-to person is the Orange County Board of Education President, Dr. Ken Williams. He's only been there for about 26 years. And while granted, there are some people in this room who may not agree with his stance on a lot of things, he does know the Brown Act. The agenda items simply do not meet the definition of the emergency agenda item requirements. Unless, of course, there are criminal acts involved. This meeting should not be taking place. Let's simply adjourn, go home, and get back to the Christmas holidays. Since I have a few seconds left, I'd simply like to thank Trustee Quintero for a statement that she made that I think is extremely important. This is a direct transcript of her speech on November the 19th, 2024.
Excuse
I
me, does
quote,
this have
to
to
say
do-
someone is afraid of possible firings is absolutely unfounded. Thank you, Trustee Quintero. We trust you will stand by those words.
Steve?
Mrs. Anderson, what a beacon of leadership you are. In just your first week, you've truly embraced the saying, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Of course, it's just not your power that's at play. It's the power of the teachers union pulling your strings while you happily and nod your head and bob along. Such inspired devotion. I mean, why waste your time considering all of the achievements that this district has achieved under Dr. Cherniss? Why waste time listening to parents, students, or taxpayers when the union's agenda is so conveniently laid out for you? Who needs balanced leadership, accountability, or even the ability to think for yourself when rubber stamping is so much less labor intensive for you? After all, why serve the whole community when catering to Manion's minions it secures your alliances? But here's the thing about power. It's not as absolute as you might think. This community does have a voice. And when leaders, and I use that term very loosely when it's applied to you, forget that they're supposed to serve, that voice tends to get louder. So while you're basking in the light of making waves today, it might be worth considering how much more news you could make if you were talking to reclaim. That would certainly cement your legacy, wouldn't it? Your actions are disgraceful, and that's an extreme understatement.
After 4 decades of law enforcement, I've looked eye to eye to child molesters, rapists, murderers, and I'm not sure between the three of you, Quintero, Buck, and Anderson, that I've seen more soullessness in anybody else than the three of you. You have the best superintendents, the best executive staff this school district has ever had, making more changes, positive changes, creating innovative ways of educating our children, and you demonize me. Quintero hires a private investigator to follow me to my church and have me served in front of my congregation to embarrass me. She emails my pastors,
Point of order, can you get control,
calls
please?
my pastors, thinking that she's going to get me to stop fighting for the education of our children and the safety of our children. Elsasser and Matthews did nothing but to destroy this district. Dr. Cherniss and Dr. Gates and the rest of the executive staff has saved this district. And you are about to destroy it. Just like Santa Ana Unified School District having to fire 351 teachers, just like Orange Unified School District, the teachers union is completely destroyed. They're going to have to close schools and fire teachers. You are doing the same thing. You're an evil person. So is your husband for following campaigners around and threatening them and intimidating them and stealing banners. This is exactly what you planned on doing. And I told everybody that Tricia Quintero was going to do the exact thing that she's doing now. And that is a fact.
I just want to remind everybody of our civility, and that we are going to respect every speaker, whether we agree with them or disagree with them.
Fascinating.
So if we can, everybody just take a deep breath and relax. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Should we tell them? Fuck us?
Excuse me?
Idiots over here. Come back here, please.
Who called me an idiot? This woman over here is calling people out and not providing the civility that this park needs.
Mr. Falco, you are interrupting.
You are evil. Are you here supporting the teachers union?
Point of order, there's someone in the back harassing people in the audience. Can we please address this?
Okay,
His name is Falco.
Thank you.
Everybody, let's please respect this.
yeah,
Both points of view, please.
So that's
both points of view. Let's just remember that we're all here for the kids and we are trying our best. We might have different points of perspectives, but we need to hear everyone, okay? So again, everyone take a deep breath. Okay, Ms. Eilers.
My name is Angela Eilers. I'm here as a parent, taxpayer, school volunteer, and community member. I'm not part of the teachers union, nor am I a member of the cabal or the mafia that one community member likes to throw around. I'm here because I believe it's time for a leadership change. Not only have parents been belittled, teachers harassed and intimidated, all with zero transparency, but once I saw an apology letter written to an infamous set of parents who were suing not only our district, but our beloved teachers at YLHS, I had had enough. Your job as a superintendent and board president is to protect your staff and those students they serve. You made a spectacle of yourself and happily allowed yourself to become an accomplice in frivolous litigation against your own people, costing our district how much money? Next time, stand with your teachers and not the people looking for their 5 minutes of fame.
Okay, the next four speakers is Tim Murray, Lori Kaler, David D, and Judy Desjardins. Yes, Mr. Murray, you're first.
I'm also surprised that we are meeting again today. And Tricia Quintero was elected in Area 1 with over 10,000 votes. That's more than any of you got. Tricia's been a respected member of the community for many years. I've lived in this community my entire life. When Tricia was disparaged, I served Mr. Falco, cease and desist. That's me. I drive a blue Tesla and I'm not a private investigator. Why did it take an election to find out that there were only 85 enrolled in the Universal Sports Institute? I asked that question many times. No one would answer me. At these public comments, at these meetings, no one told me. Now I know. It took a day to find out. Why did we just learn about $45,000 on chairs? Why didn't we know that before? Where was that in the budget we were presented? What more are we going to learn in the coming days and months? Why were we trying to make a school an independent charter to get it off the PYL books? What are we hiding? You overplayed your hand when you fired Joey Davis in Area 1. El Dorado has spoken. The votes will continue to speak for Tricia. Elections have consequences. Have fun.
Hello, I'm a resident of Orange, but I have grandchildren in the Placentia-Yorba School District. And I am a teacher. I have a bachelor's in psychology, master's in education. I want you to know, though, that the union does not reflect my values. I am an advocate for parents. I am a parent and a grandparent. And I am an advocate for board members and superintendents who are advocates for parents because they are the best advocates for the children. If we are all here for the children, then we need to be advocates for the families, for the parents. And I am so disappointed in board members who are getting rid of our people on the board, the people in the superintendent positions who are there for the kids. This has happened in my district, Orange Unified. It's happened in Santa Ana. And it happens with lies. We need honesty. We need integrity. And we need to be for the kids. That's why we're here. Thank you.
So I want to understand this. We had a meeting maybe 2 weeks ago, where two of the board members sat up and said, we cannot vote on this because it's illegal. Yet here we are today, talking about an HR matter where you were filed a lawsuit. This lawsuit was filed against you. We're now here talking about taking retribution against that person. That is illegal in state of California, based on a labor board. So if you have any sense of integrity in your body, you will not take this vote because it is illegal. And you are the people that said we could not vote just 2 weeks ago because it was an illegal vote, even though you were wrong, as Councilperson Blades pointed out earlier.
Good evening, everyone. I have to say, I'm very saddened to be here at this meeting for the agenda. Dr. Cherniss was very concerned about when we had the decline in enrollment. He's done everything he can to bring families back into the schools, the students. He cares about them. We need Dr. Gates. He is, his resume for running HR is very, very high. And it's very sad that we are treating him this way. I absolutely think you need to really think about what you're doing to try to remove Dr. Gates and Dr. Cherniss. My prediction is if you do this, you are going to see a big decline in enrollment because the parents are not going to put up with this. They are going to pull their kids out like they did before. And and do you know what happens when you pull kids out? Then teachers lose their jobs. So you really should think about what you are doing. And I'm, again, I care about the kids. I care about the school. And I'm very, very upset about thinking you're going to get rid of two people that have done a tremendous job and their staff. Thank you.
Next four speakers, we have Ed Gunn, Matt Wilkerson, Amber, and Mark Fury.
Hello, my name is Ed Gunn. Now, the three of you, Anderson, Buck, Quintero, you guys are here for the employees, not the children. Mr. Cherniss and Mr. Gates are doing a great job, and I wish to see them continue that job. Unions are for pay, benefits, and work conditions. Now this union runs this district. Does this mean that unions now collectively bargain within itself? Through minions? The board should represent the parents, and the union should represent the employees. Then you would have actual negotiations. By the way, is Linda Mannion back in the classroom yet?
Yeah.
Crickets. As unions have increased in their power over our public schools and boards, our children have suffered and gotten dumber. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Matt Wilkerson, father of two. It's remarkable how much damage one person can do in such a short amount of time. During his tenure, Dr. Cherniss has forced dozens of talented principals, teachers, administrators, and staff to leave the
Here we
district.
go. Yeah.
He destroyed countless careers and lives in order to advance his own personal agenda. I personally witnessed Dr. Cherniss lie repeatedly in order to personally benefit himself. He spent the past year hiding the true expense of the USI and the OCCS, and he's also hidden the true attendance numbers of our district. He then touted supposed growth that he is responsible for, but yet none of that was actually true. I personally witnessed his open hostility to board members who try and get information to do their jobs. He would promise to provide information, but never followed through. And then we've also learned that the district is now operating in a deficit due to his poor management of filling staff roles using temporary funds, which is just not done. And finally, the coup de grace. He attempted to engineer the fraudulent transfer of the School of Computer Science and the USI to an independent charter, thus depriving the district of much-needed ADA funds. His ultimate goal was to create an untouchable charter school that he would likely run with no oversight. Since he arrived in this district, his only goal was to serve his personal agenda. It's time for that to end today.
Hello, I'm here today as a concerned parent, community member, and employee. There are definitely some personal differences that need to be put aside so that business can continue. Our business here is to educate and offer opportunities to develop students into productive citizens for our community. When the school board needed a superintendent, they used a third party to hire. They kept the entire process anonymous and had a full 5-0 vote, unanimous, for Dr. Cherniss based solely on his skills, merit, references. His gender, race, religion, all of that were unknown because all that truly mattered was his character, accomplishments, and goals. Since he's been up at the helm, there has been no question that his goal is kids first, doing what is best for them, including raises for teachers and special education aides, as he is well aware of their impact on kids. So much misinformation has swirled around since the teachers union has been asked to step back into their lane and does not have control over everything. However, we need to take an unbiased look at what has taken place over these last few years and not let it all go to waste. Sure, the programs and upgrades might not be directly affecting you, your family, your child, but look at the students that it has helped. The money spent on USI had to be towards a brand new program. It could not be on anything existing. And maybe it's not the program that you wanted, but it is an amazing opportunity for students within our district. Sure, it has some kinks to be worked out as any new program would, but my daughter, who is attending USI, is thoroughly enjoying herself, growing and thriving in a unique way. We cannot afford to turn into orange unified for Santa Ana. Please don't toss the whole apple.
Mark?
It's crazy.
Mark Fury, I too dismayed about how quickly this meeting occurred after just 2 days. If you look at the bylaws, somebody already pointed it out, this does not meet the definition of an emergency. and this meeting should not be taking place. And if you are truly interested in the kids, you would have never called this meeting. This has absolutely nothing to do with the kids on a day-to-day basis. And then on the agenda, it's really hard to understand how you're going to hire a law firm today and then go into closed session to talk about relieving two people of their duties. What does your current law firm have to say about this? Did you run it by them to see if this was a legal meeting? You can answer. Sure you can.
We don't dialogue with the public.
You just did.
Yeah.
Read the bylaws.
Okay, our next four speakers, Raquel Fleschner, Sue Sawyer, Jocelyn, and Emily.
Sorry, who's name is
Raquel.
Good evening. My name is Raquel. I am an educator and mom of three in the district. The voters of PYLUSD have spoken clearly and decisively. They've sent a message that resonates loud and clear. They want our schools to focus on what truly matters, the education and well-being of our students and families. They've rejected the distractions of partisan politics and reaffirmed their commitment to a district that puts quality education and students first. Part of returning to that focus is restoring the systems and partnerships that once supported an inclusive education and student-first agenda, and excusing those who have mismanaged our tax dollars and forced an unprecedented number of school administrators out of our district, all at the cost of our reputation and educational excellence. I'm in favor of reinstating our previous attorneys, the ones who worked in alignment with this mission, because the voters have shown us they value proven leadership that prioritizes education over radical ideology. Let's work together to bring the focus back where it belongs, on our classrooms, our teachers, and most importantly, our students. That's the choice the voters have made, and it's your responsibility to deliver. Thank you.
My name is Sue Sawyer. I usually take more time to prep. Current board is acting in the same fashion as the previous board majority did on day one. I don't think people have been opposed to the charter. They've been opposed to the process that the superintendent and the previous board majority has taken. Day one, the previous board majority bypassed 25 years of tradition and refused to put Marilyn on. And then you tried to say that it was tradition to get Todd put on Tuesday. Leandra Blades and Dr. Cherniss do not follow district bylaws unless it's convenient. I remember no eval of Cherniss, even though it is required by our current board bylaws. But Leandra calls out following the bylaws now. Dr. Cherniss has been self-serving at almost every turn. He's lied about metrics he's taken. He's lied to the public repeatedly, which is, I believe, why I was involuntarily transferred when I called him out for lying to the public, and I gave him 3 opportunities to save face, and he changed his story all 3 times, and I have to document it. He has repeatedly involuntarily transferred teachers, forced out or fired teachers and staff in order to clear out schools, in my opinion, to create charter schools. He has even called the superintendents of other schools where employees were not the right fit here, and they found new employment to badmouth these excellent administrators. One who also had not worked in the district for a few years, and he called that former employee superintendent to tattle that he was texting Beth Fisher during the day. Who does that? Not a good leader. Thank you.
Marilyn, is this what an olive leaf looks like? I'm a little confused. I haven't heard that before. If this is what an olive leaf looks like, it's a mini olive branch. Marilyn, 2 days ago, Marilyn, can you not look at me?
You may not talk to me, but I request that you have eye contact with me.
Just relax.
Marilyn, 2 days ago, you told us when questioned if you could work with Dr. Cherniss, that you could work with him and that you had extended an olive leaf. So either you were lying to us then, or you're impulsively trying to fire or remove Dr. Cherniss now. So which is it? You've succumbed, Marilyn, to the flattery of a secret combination.
Yeah.
That's what it is, Marilyn. It's so disappointing. And we share, I thought we shared some of the same values, but clearly you succumbed to flattery to a secret combination. Your motives are dirty. They are motivated by your hatred and disdain.
Emily?
Good afternoon. Emily couldn't make it, so I'm speaking on her behalf, Ben Stubbs. Just to give some context about Jocelyn, the previous speaker. She just has,
Excuse me. Did you turn in a card?
I'm speaking on behalf of Emily. If you try to have me not speak for Emily, that's very inappropriate.
There's public comment on closed sessions if you want to speak then.
I'd be happy to speak now for Emily.
I would believe that is against our bylaws.
Seems happened in the past.
You'll need to turn in your own card before public comment for that particular time.
Do you stand by that?
Yes.
That it is-
And so we have another public comment coming later. If you want to put your name in for that, you can do that.
Yeah, if you want to address closed session items at that time, they'll.
Are you addressing me? Are we addressing each other? Is this dialogue? That's not according to the bylaws what we do. That's not what we do according to the bylaws.
For instruction.
We supported you back in 2020. You betrayed us. That's the sentiment that Jocelyn expressed.
Okay. Last speaker, John Hanson.
Let's go, John. Let's go. Everybody stop.
John Hanson, 45-year resident, Yorba Linda, past supporter of Marilyn Anderson. Sat in her living room, listened to all of her values, all of the great things she stood for. Sadly, 4 years later, I find out Marilyn is a fraud. An absolute fraud who has no values, does not stand for anything, but will fall for everything.
Yep.
Power monger and just a disgusting public servant. I'm sorry to say. And your sidekick over there with a little smirk on her face, who helped the district borrow $46.5 million so that we can pay back 400. Will you quiet the crowd, please?
Wow.
Do I get additional
Can
time?
we restart his time, please?
Can we give him 15 seconds additional, so make it 45 seconds?
Your sidekick there, who sits there with a smirk on her face, who helped lead us down a path towards district bankruptcy as we borrowed $46.5 million that we as taxpayers of this district will pay back $439 million. And you people support her, and the two of them, and you talk about fiscal responsibility. The epitome of fiscal irresponsibility is Carrie Buck, who sits there today and receives the adulation of Linda Mannion's minions who have supported her. This is a disgusting kangaroo court.
Point of clarification, there is no other public comment based on the agenda.
Correct. I went back and looked through. There is not, but you also have to submit your blue card before we start.
Okay, on my notes.
So all in the past, when people have come up in the middle of public comment, they've accepted and brought them over. That's not been true. It had to be before public comment.
Okay, let me be clear. We are having another public comment. On
Nothing said is on the agenda.
it's closed session.
Marilyn makes things up as she goes.
Which we normally ask if anybody wants to come up and speak to that. So we will do it. It's in my notes. Okay,
Oh, it's in her notes.
everybody just relax.
If we.
Okay,
If it's not on the agenda, can we do it? Because it's not on the agenda.
we normally,
I don't care about normally. It's not on the agenda.
Closed session being behind.
it's actually required.
Required to have a public comment before closed session. We've done it every time.
But it's agendized, correct?
Closed section. Yes.
Yes,
And then
closed
it's part
session
of
being
closed
after an action item might cause the public to be
So-
confused about what's happening.
They'll be able to speak on closed session items.
They won't need a card, they'll just be able to say.
That's right, they won't need a.
So you won't need a card to speak before closed session, you just come up and talk.
Correct.
Cool, just making sure that's clear.
Okay, we need a motion for, we're at general functions.
I'll make a motion. We approve the agreement for legal services with Atkinson, Anderson, Loya, Red, and Romo effective December 19th, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck and a second by Mrs. Quintero.
Why do we need new counsel?
I asked to have new counsel put on the last agenda 2 days ago, and I was denied that. The reason why I liked them on this agenda, or I wanted them on that agenda, was because I wanted them to review the charter that we have coming up at the January meeting. Having them review that agenda, we didn't have a meeting before that. Requesting them to put on that 2 days ago would have avoided having a special session to do this. They refused to put it on there when I asked if.
Well,
Then,
to be clear,
hold on.
Yeah, well,
I then was told that one person can't put it on the agenda, so I contacted Marilyn and asked her to to put it on the agenda as well. I was told no because the superintendent pulled the board members, including Sean Youngblood, not Tricia Quintero, regarding that meeting, which he wasn't at. It was her agenda item, or her agenda, so she should have been pulled, but wasn't. So it could have been handled on Tuesday.
but that doesn't answer my question. Why do we need new counsel?
Because I want them to review the charter school petition that we've got that's coming up. We have to decide on in January. And based on the issue we had with the 15-day requirement not being told to us, they have a council
But it
on,
was an MOU though, this, so it was different, but go ahead.
but still to have them review it. They have a council in their firm that is good at looking at charter schools, and I'd like to have them look at it.
Okay, so are they gonna be accompanying us to closed session?
They will at this point.
Yes?
So this is my question is the same as somebody pointed out. How are they ready in 5 minutes to go back there and take all these closed session items unless you guys have given material over to them without a contract?
Yep.
Completely illegal, completely illegal. And another thing too is you did not put within the 10 days for board bylaws. We are held to the same standards as the community. Tricia Quintero was not sworn in on the Thursday that you asked for the polling of the board. She was sworn in on the Tuesday of the board meeting. So it was absolutely okay to ask Sean because he was still technically the board member until that Tuesday meeting. He wouldn't have been voting on Then it.
Why did you tell him that Cherniss was in for insubordination? And you made those threats to him over email?
Well, I'm not going to discuss employee matters that potentially could be litigation and talked about in closed session. So I won't be answering that.
Well, it's,
But
you
because-
did it on public email, so it could be PRA.
Sure, it can.
So once again, we're gonna go back there and we're gonna go
and violate and do something illegal because you two have probably given information to our attorneys and they've been subject to stuff in our district without outside of a contract.
And if they've been,
Highly illegal.
if they're going to give counsel,
Not illegal.
if they're going to give counsel and they have not received information, then they're going to be we're going to be wasting time and money of theirs for them to review it in closed session. So either way, it's a bad deal. Like this is.
It's not something that we can actually talk about out here. We have to talk about it in closed session.
We can
We
talk
can
about the
absolutely
attorneys
talk
that
about
we're
the attorneys
hiring and
out
how the timing's gonna go. That just doesn't work. So I still haven't got an answer on why we need it, other than you like them.
Because these are not attorneys we currently have on staff, and we have things coming that would potentially have the current attorneys we have impacted. So we
Actually,
What's that?
what
How are
this,
they-
again,
What
this is a
this
closed
is-
session item that we are not allowed to talk about.
what this is they want to hire an attorney. A question was asked. How come our current legal counsel is not going back there with that? Because these people aren't going to get the answer that they want. They're not going to get the direction that they want. So they went and they hired Todd Robbins or whoever these people are that used to be, who we had illegal contracts with, who we have a 1090 violation with. We have all these alleged things that have been turned over to the district attorney's office. And now, yeah, so we have all of this stuff going on, but you want to bring him in because they're going to give you the result that you want. Because in the past, they have done this. They have allowed government code violations. Yes, they have. Because when El Sasser and when I think you were president or maybe Karen Freeman, this whole not allowing board members to put things on the agenda, that's an ed code violation right there.
Like you didn't let me put it on?
Oh, you could put out anything you want on. Hold it up the board. You weren't able to put it on because you were not within the 10 days and you were violating the board bylaws. What happened is at a board meeting, they did a polling of the board for future agenda items, and you had to have 3 board members who had to approve the item to get on the agenda. That is a Brown Act violation. It is polling of the school board, and it is also a government code violation. And Todd Robbins was the attorney, and he allowed it to happen. And so you want to go hire him because he will do your bidding. And he has come out against conservatives.
That's a lot of threats
He
that
has-
you're throwing at me and
He
throwing
has
at,
come
or you
out
have
against.
no idea what you're talking
He has come out against conservatives. He has come out against parents who believe in parents' rights. He's done all this, and so they're going to take a partisan attorney who is a political activist in his free time, and they're going to hire him when we have counsel at the ready to go into closed session, but they know they will not do what they're going to ask him to do, and Todd Robbins will. And furthermore, I have a video of Todd.
Well, we're not gonna stand here and play.
This is hard.
Mrs. Boyd, this is absolutely inappropriate. And our attorney actually knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Our
if you would-
current attorney.
If you would let me speak, I think I can clarify a lot of things.
No, you got turned off the mic.
Okay, I'm gonna explain. I have contacted our current legal, Mr. Huff. We have discussed the agenda items.
What's on the mic? Can't hear you. What's on the mic?
Okay, so we discussed the agenda items. I asked him if all that was in order for today's meeting. He said yes, he reviewed it. I asked him if he would be available today during the meeting, and he said he would. He also agreed that we needed to hire new legal counsel to help us with these issues because of potential conflicts, but I can't really discuss much about that. We can discuss that more in
Well,
closed
I
session.
talked to him too, and he had no idea what was gonna go on back there until the agenda came out yesterday. So why don't we get Huff on the phone and we'll ask him?
Yeah.
So I talked to him yesterday.
So did I. And the
And
day
today.
before. And today. I did too.
Does anybody else have any comments?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, this is illegal.
Excuse me,
I'm just.
Mr. Hanson, if you speak out again,
Oh, him. Okay.
okay,
Bye.
Bye.
please, I do not want to kick anybody out of this room. This meeting is our meeting and you guys are our guests and you get to participate in public comment, but we need to keep your comments to yourself. Excuse me, I'm not sure who said that, but
Actually standing up.
okay, this is your warning. Who is the name? Safka, that's your warning. And Mr. Hanson, you have also been warned. Okay. Mr. Frazier, would you, oh, Tricia was first? Okay.
I am just obviously learning about everything that's going on since I wasn't privy to this before, my swearing in, but
Should come to the school board meeting.
as I've taken notes and kind of listened to everything, I'm just saying, obviously, as a law firm, you cannot be partisan. So I'm assuming that whoever we hire, whether we keep the person we have now or the firm we have now and go to a new firm, obviously, I'm assuming that they're not going to be swayed in either way. They're going to follow the laws and I have trust in them that they will. But I just find it very convenient that leaked information, accusing people of leaked information is coming out because it seems like there's been many videos made of leaked information to other people. And I guess this is not convenient to the subject at hand that we're not speaking of other leaked information. So I'm like, I just don't understand what the whole, I guess, I don't know. I'm just kind of just confused and just surprised that I guess laws are convenient to when they want to be used. And I don't see this as going accusations back and forth is not, it's not helping anything at all.
Well, you have to be honest, especially when we've been in contact with the attorney, and he had no clue yesterday. He had no clue, he didn't know anything about the agenda. And he said, so he was in court all day and he says, I've had 4 people call from Placentia-Yorba. I'm assuming something's going on. So you need to be honest, did you really call David Huff? And did you
I really did call David Huff.
And
And I
so,
really did talk to him yesterday.
right, so
and
then
today.
why didn't you ask him to come in and solicit our closed session? It's probably because you had already talked to Atkinson and you'd already talked to them and you'd given the information over, which is against the law.
Okay, so all of that aside, and I think it's very strange that we're hiring a law. Are they gonna be back in closed session with us?
Yes.
Okay, I'm confirming. Anyways, so if you look at the contract, there are several things in the contract that I really disagree with, and I think it's gonna end up costing us actually a lot more money than our current contract. So if you look at the contract on page, in section 3, terms and conditions, it lists the prices, the hourly rates for all of the partners and associates and things, which is more expensive than our current rates with our current attorneys. However, it's only about 4% different overall. However, there is a statement right below the cost that says a law firm shall bill in quarter-hour increments. Now that means 15 minutes. Our current firm bills in 10th hours, which is 6 minutes. So if you make a phone call or any sort of communication that takes longer than a minute, with this new contract, we're gonna be charged for 15 minutes. And with our our current firm, we would be charged 6 minutes. So that's where's my calculation here? That is a 15%.
Point of order.
Increase.
Whoever yelled that out,
The lady in the green right over here, right there. That was you.
Let's find their names.
I got it on camera.
okay, excuse me, Mr. Falco.
Wasn't me.
It's a wide shot. Thankfully.
Mr. Falco, you have been warned.
So
What?
back to what I was saying,
She asked a question.
billing rates are important and how you bill makes things very different. They're charging at quarter hours instead of 10th hours. That's a big difference. So you add that plus if you continue down and the next section, in section B, it says, in addition, the district hereby agrees to pay a 5% per month administration charge calculated on and based on monthly fees billed to cover related operational expenses incurred by the law firm. So they're gonna charge us 5% on top of whatever their billing is for administration, which I think is excessive. And then if you continue down, there are additional There's a 1% charge for paying late, which that's fine, totally okay with that. However, in section 5, specialized legal services, for specialized litigation and transactional services in the areas of construction, which we have a lot of, procurement, which we have a lot of, technology, which we have OCSCS, we have a lot of, prevailing wage, real property, intellectual property, mitigation, school and college finance, Title IX. The district agrees to pay the law firm at rates higher than the standard hourly rates for special projects or particular scopes of work. So there's secret fees that we don't know about. Okay, so we don't know what that's going to be. So with the numbers that we do know, with a 15% increase in billing rates from 1/10 of an hour to quarter hour, plus the 4% increase in rates, that gives us about a 24% increase in what we're talking about with the 5% administrative fee. And we're going to be getting essentially 20% less work for the same cost of a law firm that I don't know is going to do any better than what we have. So unless there's some compelling reason to say we need a new law firm because our current law firm isn't doing a good job at what they're doing, then I don't see why in the world we're bringing a new law firm in. I understand the closed session items and having attorneys present, but I don't know why in the world we're changing law firms. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
So there's no answer to that?
Is there, I just,
She's
is
not
there,
smart enough to know.
one of the reasons, would it be like a conflict of interest because this law firm has worked with the employees before? Or is it?
There is a conflict of
There is
interest,
a conflict of interest.
potential, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's more to it than.
There is more.
And I will say that the Orbach, Huff and Henderson contract that we approved in June had a not to exceed $200,000 and this one has a not to exceed $120,000. So there's
We get 20% less work, just to be clear.
but we're not letting OHH go, where this is specific for
Specific
outside of what they're
when
doing.
we need things done in closed session and.
That we can't discuss and have Huff represent, correct?
Yeah.
Huh.
So the current law firm would be the primary law firm, and then this would be for supplemental as needed. The new law.
There's, we would have to decide, there's no.
So I would also like to say that, I would like to say that if Todd Robbins is gonna be our attorney, I would like to say that if we are gonna go forward with this contract, then we hire Tony DeMarco instead, because I had to reach out to Steve Andelson, because Todd Robbins, while he was our attorney, unlike the way that this law firm works, and we can all just pick up the phone and call the attorney, it was either the superintendent or the board president was the only person who was able to get on the phone with the attorney. And so I don't think I ever received maybe one individual email from Todd Robbins the whole time that he was our board attorney. But since he hasn't been our board attorney, he decides to email me freely and accuse me of things and then actually like contradict himself. And it comes out that he's just harassing me. So I've already contacted Steve Andelson and I've asked that Todd Robbins stops emailing me and stops harassing me. So if we're going to approve this law firm, let's get Tony DeMarco. If Tony DeMarco is a little bit extra, I mean, heck, we're already going how much extra? 20% flat? Let's bring in Tony DeMarco, who doesn't have a history with our board, a negative history with many people, and let's go from there, especially when these incidents that are at the district attorney's office that have been reported are possibly, I'm not saying they are going to be investigated, but they're possibly going to be investigated. And so at least if we're going to use this law firm, we could start fresh with a different attorney.
Yep.
Also, I would like to address what you guys said. 200,000 not to exceed on the current contract. That's for a full year. 120 not to exceed for this contract was half a year. So technically, if we do the math, we're still over excess of what we have with our current law firm. So I just totally disagree with changing law firms right now, and I don't see any
We're not
compelling reason.
changing. We are
Adding a new law firm
and
to
we
deal
have,
with something.
In the last year, we've added Harbottle, we have added Teo and Rosini. I mean, we've added.
We've always
For specific
and
items.
also
We always had a
our
bottle.
free-
We
in the
always
last
had
year-
our bottle.
Well, we've used them.
Always had a hard bottle.
We
They have
have
always
always-
been on contract with us.
Okay, can I actually answer the question? We have had Harbottle for special education, but now we have used them for additional things, including HR, construction, even board policies, because I've talked to Mr. Harbottle about that. We added Tan Rossini for construction, which I thought was interesting because OHH, that's their specialty. We've added F3 for HR. So we're just adding another attorney to our district. We're not replacing anybody. And there was another point I had, but it's.
Well, why, let me ask, if they had illegal contracts with us in the past and they had these type of issues, why would we?
I think if they were illegal contracts, we would have had some sort of litigation as a result of that. Just throwing that out there without any bearing on it, without proof or without any action, that's just making things up.
No, because
This
David
is
Huff
Blaze.
rectified the issue. David
Stop
Huff
talking
rectified,
over.
David Huff
everybody.
rectified the issue. And so, yes, we did have illegal contracts and David Huff rectified the issue.
Okay, I'm ready to call for the vote.
I would like to get on the phone and ask if it's illegal for us to actually go
I
back
call
there.
for the vote. Mrs. Blades?
No.
Mrs. Quintero?
Aye.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Frazier?
No.
Mrs. Buck?
Aye.
And there's an aye for me. Motion carried 3-2. Okay. Now we will be adjourning to closed sessions for the purpose of discussing the following matters. 9.1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 and 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9, one case, McAlinden versus PYLUSD. Number 2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D, section 54956.9, 2 potential cases, complaints against superintendent and deputy superintendent. 9.3, public employment, discipline, dismissal, suspension, release, leave, assignment, non-reelection, non-reappointment, resignation, reinstatement pursuant to government code 54957. And I just want to put this note here that pursuant to education code section 35150, the Board of Education is prohibited from terminating the superintendent of any assistant superintendent without cause at a special board meeting or within 30 days after the first convening of the governing board after an election, at which one or more members of the governing board are elected or recalled. So our board, we are fully aware of the law and we plan to follow it. 9.4, public employment appointment, position to be considering acting superintendent if necessary. Is there anyone present who would like to address any of these items? Just closed session. Okay, Mrs. Podolsky?
Oh, sorry. Go back to it. You can sit up in front to go for it.
Six, 7,
8. Okay, 8 speakers. So that brings us into the 3-minute.
I don't think I'll need 3 minutes, but that's nice. Trisha, thank you for your comments, and your honesty when you just told us that you were confused and you're clearly just trying to piece together all the show that's been going on. With all this lack of information and confusion, I request that you abstain from voting tonight on this session. I don't know how you could in good conscience cast a vote to remove anybody from a position when you have such a limited experience and knowledge on the case. So I hope that you'll consider that. Again, Marilyn, I ask you that you reevaluate yourself and look at your motives for the new role of power and control that you are trying to exercise dominion that is beyond the measure of your original intent to be here.
Good evening, Ben Stubbs. I wanted to speak on the item tonight. I wanted to defend definitely the professionalism and the excellence that was brought to our district by Dr. Cherniss. And I'm a former USD parent, and I regretfully want to say that the new union-backed majority threatens the progress that we've made under the new leadership of our exceptional superintendent, Dr. Alex Cherniss, and Deputy Superintendent Issaic Gates. The Dr. Cherniss uncovered a scandal involving Apple Union President Linda Mannion, who had been improperly paid her full teacher's salary for over 20 years, despite not stepping a foot in the classroom. The previous conservative board majority corrected this by phasing out her contract and ensuring that Apple, not taxpayers, would cover her salary. Now, in retaliation, the union-backed majority is seeking to remove Dr. Cherniss and Mr. Gates. This alarming power play is not only unethical, but it also jeopardizes the stability of our district and directly impacts students. Dr. Cherniss and Mr. Gates have our community's full support to stand together to protect their leadership and secure a bright future for our students. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. To further illustrate the coordinated effort of APLE and their endorsed board members, Tricia Quintero and Marilyn Anderson, to unlawfully fire Dr. Cherniss and Dr. Gates. Here are the thousands of dollars APLE spent on their political campaigns. $15,580 US to Marilyn, and another $15,580 US to Tricia. Broken down as follows. Here's the copies. Oh, sorry.
Is this about a closed session?
It is.
Okay.
So for yard signs and banners, you receive $4,373.89, both of you. For sustainable changes strategies, so the campaign manager, management company that you use, $2,666. That's some sort of a funny number right there, 66. And also for digital ads and others, $8,541. So what I'm trying to say here is follow the money. You have been bought by APLE and now you're doing their bidding.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Hedia. I want to speak on two issues. One, I'm part of a blended family. We have 5 kids in the school district. My daughter, I had to pull out of El Dorado High School. She was getting high in the bathrooms and 2 kids OD'd before her. And I went to the management of the school, I went to Joey Davis, and they would not properly police the campus. 2 boys that she was dating got in fistfights and were expelled, nearly died from the beating that they received, and no one broke up that fight. And I had to pull my daughter out to get her help because they wouldn't police the bathrooms enough for the kids to stop getting high. So the school was very poorly managed. I hope you appreciate the fact that it needed new leadership at El Dorado. 2, I spent 20 years as a federal contractor doing mass targeted violence and terrorism. And I wanted the hostility in this room and the enmity really worries me that we may have an incident of violence that occurs. And I really want to invite you all to do some kind of reconciliation work because I'm really worried that this is ripping our community apart. And I really recommend that we get a multidisciplinary team, we bring in law enforcement, we bring in therapists, and that we have some attempt at reconciliation because this is tearing our community apart. Look at the animosity and the hatred in this room. It's crazy. And I'd like us to see Dr. Cherniss is really, all my interactions with him has proven that he really, his heart is in this. He wants to do good things. We have 1 kid at OCSCS thriving who was actually expelled from his former elementary school, and he's absolutely thriving and loves the school. I just hope that we can have an open heart and an open mind to try to see what's actually good and move forward with that and try to find common ground. We're looking to you guys to be able to find that common ground and work together for the for the best outcome of our kids, not for the teachers union, but for the kids and for the teachers and for the families. I implore you.
My name is Mark. I certainly concur with that. The hatred and immaturity and all kinds of things that have gone on is simply just unbelievable. I've watched dirty politics for a long time. This was the first time I saw it firsthand and watched the corrupt, lying, slandering, horrible, rotten tactics of the union beholden machine that darkened this community with their hate, vitriol, and vandalism, lies, deception, and utter lack of integrity, to wrestle power only to look for themselves, out for themselves and their bureaucrat political organization they call a teacher union. All they really do is steal money from the community and from members, often without consent as to what they fund, to build their power and elect far left, corrupt politicians not giving one F about the children. Their whole purpose is to rule over the ashes as they destroy this district, as their corrupt, hate-mongering, lying counterparts in Orange and Santa Ana have done. They use their dirty politics and slander to take over boards all over California, give themselves immediate raises, getting pats on the back from their owner, union thug bosses, and bankrupting the district that is bleeding enrollment, just as the gaggle of thieves will do here, destroying all progress with the former wonderful majority and Superintendent Cherniss was making. I assume we will now anticipate them turning it all to crap as they use all the funds for their union politicians and crazy agendas as usual. What a sad state of affairs in this community. What I have witnessed in this election are some of the worst people I've ever seen, whining and crying and acting like children as they spread their hate and lies against people that I've known for very long that are good people and parents and have children in this district. Truly sickening to even know that we have this in this community. Thank God that we don't have to be around it all the time in these Jerry Springer-like meetings full of self-serving psychos. God help our children. God help our children from this low integrity. And may the community wake up and may the day focus on teaching our kids to be good, successful people and not political pawns and activists.
Amen.
Is there anybody left on the side? Okay. Okay.
You know, Todd, I really wish you had been that nitpicky about numbers. Talking about $3.4 million for 84 students and Leandra, I think that you have exposed yourself and shown what it is that you're so upset about Mr. Todd Robbins possibly coming back, because he would stand up against you, or he would actually tell you when he thought your proposed resolution would most likely be unconstitutional.
On closed session items.
Okay,
Sorry.
so we're talking about hiring possibly a new law firm, right? That's the.
No. HR items.
To be clear, the closed session items were about cases with anticipated litigation and lawyers and.
Yeah, so I'm commenting about, lawyers, so, fine, so, I think it's really important that we do hire law firms that do, hold our, trustees accountable and will be honest with you and forthright about what's legal and what's not. I think that in the past with the current attorneys, they have let too many things go being yes men instead. So if we look at even just our history of Dr. Cherniss and why he's been involved in so many multiple lawsuits, I don't know if people are aware, but in Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified, Cherniss in both his in both his official and individual capacities, was named as a defendant in several lawsuits filed by students and parents against the school district. These cases include accusations of civil rights violations and other grievances. In San Marino Unified, while serving as superintendent, Cherniss was involved in a lawsuit
Miss Lee,
filed by.
excuse me, can you pause for a second?
Point of order, this is not.
Why didn't you stop anyone else who was not talking about closed session? Why didn't you, Ms. Blades, why weren't you concerned about any other comments? That was not on this.
Let me handle this. Mrs. Blades, please do not interrupt the speakers. She is talking about Dr. Cherniss and past things, which is.
In Palos Verdes, we're talking about this district,
Right, and I want to show that there's a
She's showing
pattern.
the
There's
pattern.
a pattern of
Just
his
let her
behavior
speak,
in every
okay?
district.
So
This
she's
is
able
why
to show
we need
patterns.
change now. We have accountability here because it's been a problem everywhere he goes. Okay?
Yeah. Can we give her time back? 1:30.
In San Marino, while serving as superintendent, Cherniss was involved in a lawsuit filed by a school board member, Chris Norgard. The lawsuit alleged civil rights violations, including defamation. In this case, okay. And then, let's see, there's also been a notable lawsuit against Cherniss involved in his decision to terminate assistant principal Emily Shapiro. Shapiro claimed her firing was retaliatory, resulting from her report of alleged misconduct by Cherniss and other administrators. Okay, this case brought significant attention to issues of administrative accountability and employee protections within school districts. Free speech and retaliation case, another significant lawsuit was filed by a group of parents and students against the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. This suit alleged violations of First Amendment rights, accusing Cherniss and other district officials of retaliating against those who criticized district policies. The lawsuit highlighted concerns about free speech and administrative overreach within the educational system. More civil rights violations. Cherniss was named in multiple civil rights lawsuits during his tenure at Palos Verdes. These lawsuits were initiated by various parties, including students and parents. Again, students, parents. We're worried about parents' rights, right? Alleging discrimination and other civil rights infringements. The repeated nature of these lawsuits underscores ongoing tensions and challenges within the district's administration and governance. These lawsuits reflect recurring legal and administrative challenges during Alex Cherniss' career as a school superintendent, involving allegations ranging from retaliation and free speech violations and broader civil rights issues everywhere he goes.
Really difficult to listen to that, all the allegations, but not mentioning, was he found guilty of any?
Right. Thank you.
So there are lawsuits everywhere, and it means nothing unless they're found guilty. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. It was very, not dishonest, but to talk about this legal firm, and then during the conversation say, you two are the experts on picking the law firm without any other consideration for other law firms, to take a look at what you are saying is the charter school, right? Never mentioned that in any of the agenda items. Why? You're not going to answer it, but just so you know, when something is on the agenda and it's agendized item, you have a perfect right to answer the questions from the public. That's in the bylaws. If it's general public comment where it's not on the agenda, then yes, you don't have to converse, but it's your right to answer questions to the public, read the bylaws. The other thing you can represent somebody. So when you turn the other guy down saying he wanted to represent Emily, you can sign the card and you write down who you're representing. Bylaws on the card.
Okay, this past few years, we've heard a lot from the union back people about overspending. And now I'm hearing that one of your first actions is to overspend on this attorney to go in this back room to give you answers that you want.
Yep.
I find it odd. And when we talk about overspending, and especially the union talking about it, yeah, well, it's about the attorney. And then of course, then there's Dr. Cherniss. Now, Dr. Cherniss is doing a great job. Now, 2027 is what his contract goes through, right? So if you decide to do something about him, now you're gonna have to pay him through 2027. That's wasting more money. That's wasting money just like we wasted on Linda Mannion at $130,000 a year for sitting in a union office, wasting about $3 million over her tenure. The three Mannion minions. I mean, you guys spent $5,000 doing maneuvers, trying to, get doing lawsuit maneuvers to try to get a restraining order to stop the Cherniss contract. There's also the $48.5 million that Carrie Buck was part of borrowing that us people that live in this area are gonna have to pay back. Almost $500 million. The people here are gonna be very angry when that happens in 2042. Now, this attorney that you're paying this exorbitant amount of money to, why? Because he's a lapdog and a leftist activist? I really wonder if at these meetings, I think Linda Mannion should be able to come up here and have 25 minutes to talk. And the reason I want her to do that is because then she can explain to us how she's operating this board, what her agenda is, because she is running this, and she's part of this Cherniss attack and this Gates attack, because she doesn't want to go back to the classroom. She knows she's in the wrong sitting in that union office all of these years and not being in the classroom half the time, which Buck would have been part of all of these years.
Agenda.
Yeah, wasting money and attacks from the union on Cherniss. That's part of the agenda. Now, you're going into closed session. Why isn't John Madsen part of closed session?
Yeah.
He's one of your union hack teachers who was stealing signs on your behalf.
Thank you.
Lord, dude.
Come on. Just remember, we're talking about the closed session items.
Okay, Judy Desjardins, and I am against the new law firm. I would also like to say that anytime there are changes, there is always going to be pushback. It not only happens in the school district, anytime someone like Dr. Cherniss is putting in new things, there's going to be pushbacks. It happens in the corporate office. And in the corporate world also. So I think this is what you have to think about. And again, on the pushback, the lady that came up and spoke about all the lawsuits, but what was the outcome? To my knowledge, he was found innocent.
Yep.
So again, please think about the pushback that people are going to. People normally do not like change. Marilyn, they don't like it. Carrie and Tara, they don't like change, and so they're going to be wanting to push back. But many times they may decide that that they would like to go elsewhere, and that's their choice. So many of the teachers that left, that was their choice to leave. And I know that one of the teachers that left was a father with children, and he decided to take a job in Garden Grove so he could be close to his children's school. So please, again, I kind of agree with Hetty when she came up too. Let's really think about what we're doing. We are hurting our children, the kids, the students here, teachers, and the community. So please, I'm just really asking you to think about what you're doing when you want to eliminate or put Dr. Cherniss on administrative leave. Please, and also Dr. Gates, we need a good HR person. Look at the situation that happened over at the Kramer Middle School. that the previous HR man didn't want to even address it. So thank you again for letting me speak. I do care, and I just hope that we can come together. So please, I'm just asking you from the bottom of your heart to please, and also Trustee Quintero, again, I think, again, you need to have a lot more knowledge. So, I mean, I don't mean that disrespectful. I just mean there's a lot of issues here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Kirby, and I've been a resident of Yorba since 1989. My kids went to the first classes at Bryant Ranch Elementary School. Debbie Silverman was a friend of mine. You know, I'm here to talk about Dr. Cherniss and how the impact that he's brought, the tremendous things he's done. An earlier speaker, I think, talked about patterns. We've had a pattern of declining schools in Yorba in this district. And Tricia mentioned earlier, she's confused. I'm confused as well as why, when in the face of improving student achievement scores and improving enrollment, that we feel like now is the right time to make that change. So what I'd like to see is, and what we've seen under Dr. Cherniss, is a focus on reading, writing, arithmetic. And I think as a real estate owner and a longtime citizen of this town, I don't have a real dog in this fight anymore. My kids have gone on. They've had 3 of them come up through the schools at different times. But it's important to us as a community to have truly strong schools. I looked tonight just to make sure I wasn't out of line. I haven't seen a Blue Ribbon School awarded here since 2018. That's going on 7 years. We used to have a lot of them. And I think that speaks volumes about the type of leadership we had prior to the current regime that we have with Dr. Cherniss and Leander Blades. So thank you very much.
I just want to make it quick. If we do, if the board decides that Dr. Cherniss is not someone that we want to continue with, can we just make sure we do a fair evaluation? And that goes for both sides, because one of the things that I would like to see as well is this community stop posting things all over social media, videos, attacks, people attacking, various community members, and it happens both ways. And there are things Dr. Cherniss has brought to the district that maybe we need to review. That if it was more transparent in the past, which I have told both of you, then we could have probably not been at this point. You got to this point in Area 1 because of actions. And, Tricia probably wouldn't have run if there weren't some things that weren't always transparent. And I came to this meeting so many times asking for it. I've had beers with a few of you asking for it. And, that's what I think this community deserves. I've lived in this community my whole life. I've never seen it like this. And you're bringing people, against each other. And it's not just the union, and I hear you. I understand that that's your perspective, but it's bigger than that. There's a lot of things that are dividing us. And, some of it's political. Some of it's just the fact that we don't always agree. But the bottom line is this community has to heal its wounds. And it's been said by both sides. A lot of speakers have said the same thing. So whatever happens behind closed doors, I just hope it's a fair evaluation. And if there is cause, Todd, you said you would vote for it. You said, even if it's 4-1, a supermajority, I will vote for it if there's cause. If there's not cause, then I think we should continue with Dr. Cherniss. If there is cause, I hope Todd will keep his word.
afternoon. My name is Sarah and I'm a current PYLUSD employee. I'm incredibly concerned about the possible removal of Dr. Gates from office. I think currently it is genuinely embarrassing to be a part of this school district right now. I was born and raised in this district's boundaries. I attended Woodsboro Elementary, Bernardo Middle School, and Esperanza High School, and I was taught by some incredible teachers. So incredible, in fact, that they inspired me to become a teacher as well, to try and impact the lives of students the way it impacted them. So yes, it is embarrassing to be asked what the current school board drama is, or what the heck is happening in my district, when I would rather be asked about the wonderful students I see on a daily basis. What is happening here today is not putting students first. So I asked when the last time was that you were at a school site, connecting with the students whose lives your choices are impacting. Dr. Gates is somebody I see on a quite regular basis, connecting with their students, asking them questions, and showing genuine care and concern for them. Because that's what should be done. Boots on the ground, working and fighting to create and foster healthy learning environments for the students, not playing games to try and get rid of who you like and who you don't like. I know my comment will not change your thoughts, feelings, or opinions about your peers, but I hope it helps you reevaluate why you occupy a spot on this board. Thank you.
My name is Sam Arich. It appears that the new legal counsel will immediately engage existing litigation in the matter of terminating the contract of Richard McAlinden in the case of McAlinden versus PYLUSD. Richard McAlinden had been the Assistant Superintendent of Executive Services and a highly regarded educator in the PYLUSD for 23 years. Last year, he had to go on medical leave with a serious illness. While on medical leave, the superintendent changed the title and framework for the position Mr. McAlinden had held and appointed Renee Gray to the new post. The superintendent placed Mr. McAlinden on administrative leave since once he finished his medical leave, with the understanding that his contract would not be renewed in the district for the next year. Reconfiguring the position Mr. McAlinden, the position that Mr. McAlinden had held while he was on medical leave was a disingenuous way of firing him while he was on medical leave. This represented numerous circumventions of state law that the previous legal counsel authorized. That has put us in jeopardy. That is bad legal advice. Mr. McAlinden's case against the district appears to be a strong one and may provide the broad context for understanding the other components of this evening's special board agenda. The second item on the closed session agenda is conference with legal counsel pertaining to anticipated litigation. The agenda is quite explicit. There are two potential cases involving complaints against the superintendent and deputy superintendent. Might these complaints be additional elements of Mr. McAlinden's claim that target the culpability of these two individuals as named parties related to the claims against the district? I cannot tell from the agenda whether that's true or not. I'm just trying to interpret the agenda as it was stated. The third item on the closed session agenda involves the potential penalties to a public employee who has violated the terms of the Brown Act. It appears from the wording of the agenda that this violation will provide the foundation for terminating the superintendent and deputy superintendent with cause. The state legislature amended section 35150 of the Ed Code to require cause as a basis for termination by a new board because of what happened to Superintendent Gunn Marie Hansen in the Orange Unified School District 2 years ago. Their newly elected extremist school board terminated the duties of the highly regarded Hansen in an effort to find a superintendent more inclined to accommodate their charter school obsession and culture wars mania. Included on the Orange School Board had been the then recently elected and subsequently recalled Madison Klogstad Minor. Miss Minor is close friends with trustee Leandra Blitz.
My name is Sue Sawyer. I have no prepared remarks, but I want to discuss the agendized items for closed session. If we're looking at potential, whatever the long list was for termination, leave, whatever, then leaders, their sole responsibility is to train the staff and the administration that is educating our students. We have incredible students and we have absolutely amazing schools in this district, and we have all along, regardless of the leaders, whether you like them or not, because teachers are in the trenches doing it. Teachers are afraid because of this administration. I am afraid. It scares the living daylights out of me to come up and talk every day because I'm afraid you're going to involuntarily transfer me again for speaking out. Because a good leader would call a teacher, have a conference with them. Issaic Gates would go through the chain of command, but when he purposely leaves out 3 of the chain of commands, that does not build integrity. It does not build a bridge to support teachers, to support kids. I am making lemonade out of life students to support a group of kids that have not had a very rich life, for lack of a better word, in a lot of different ways. And good leaders would support them. They would not prevent those children from having equipment until 2 days after he lost the board majority. That's not what good leaders do. I have spoken with leaders that have left, young leaders with small children, where Alex came to them directly. And they're gone, they went and got other